Hi, this is Magnus Finch. Earlier this week, I conducted an interview with a paranormal investigator in Humboldt County. He also has a YouTube channel. I will be putting the link in the description so you can check that out right now if you want, or you can wait till the end of the video. So the reason I was even doing this interview was for a documentary that I'm still working on. And there was a lot of extra footage that I felt like was going to go to waste if I didn't post it. So I decided I would post it kind of as like a promotional piece. But the parts that are missing will most likely show up in the documentary that I'm planning on making about something. I'll let you figure that one out. I do want to say that the interview is not filmed entirely properly. I had my subject out of focus on one of my cameras for a while, and I had my other camera set up too far away, so I had to crop in. It was not ideal, and I'm definitely going to learn from this experience and improve as I go along. Just wanted to throw that out there.
My group is named Humboldt Paranormal. I have a YouTube channel where I have some episodes of a couple of my paranormal investigations. So I'm currently 5 episodes behind, so I'm working on getting those released. But I have a website. It's www.humboldt-paranormal.weebly.com. You're welcome to visit my website. It'll give a little more information about what I do and give you a way to contact me if you like. I'm always open to people contacting me, telling me about their stories, or if they have a location that they would like me to investigate. I'm always open to that.
And are you strictly taking stories from Humboldt County, or?
I mean, mostly from Humboldt County. I do occasionally am willing to do an investigation outside of Humboldt County. For example, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and I did some ghost hunting over there that I plan to make an episode out of. But mostly I do investigations and episodes in Humboldt. I don't think I've ever experienced myself strong poltergeist activity. Probably the closest, most in-my-face activity for me on an investigation actually happened right here at the Samoa Cookhouse.
Yeah.
Which was very, very interesting. I mean, there was no, I wouldn't say it was poltergeist activity, but it was one step before poltergeist activity.
Definitely.
Which really actually scared me. I was actually scared when it happened.
And do you think that's is that the first time, or like the first time that you really feared what you were doing there?
I would say so.
Yeah.
In any investigation, I never really feared any time until that happened. Definitely. in this building right here.
Would you mind going into exactly what did happen?
Sure. So we were on the top floor of the Samoa Cookhouse, in what used to be like the barracks for the waitress staff, the women waitress staff that used to work here back in the 1800s, who used to serve the men loggers, their meals for the Hammond Lumber Company. So it was at nighttime. I was with 2 other investigators. They had some smartphones with them where they were able to put an app on their smartphone that turned it into an SLS video camera. So an SLS video camera is where you point it at, let's say, a person, and it will create a stick figure where that person is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right. But the theory with ghost hunting is that if you point it at a spirit, it'll also theoretically make a stick figure where the spirit is.
I had like a webcam set up once for my computer, and I was running this like Xbox 360 Connect software, and it would do the same sort of thing. And I would always like glitch out on my chair and like be weird, and then go to the back of my room. Like I always thought that was very odd, just seeing the little figure pop up, and I'm like, what is it reading?
Yeah. There's a YouTube channel of a guy who uses that same device, and he gets some very amazing results.
Definitely.
Forget the name of the channel, but yeah. So they were picking up a stick figure in a doorway upstairs here, and it was completely dark. All the lights were out. The stick figure was leaning up on the side of the doorway, like it was just kind of folding its arms, and kind of leaning to the side, like watching us or something. And if I remember correctly, I said something like, "Can you move near us and make a clear sounding noise?" And maybe like after about 5 minutes, well, first nothing happened except the stick figure stayed in its spot. But then after about 5 minutes, it would on their SLS video cameras, it would like alternate between being in the doorway and being right in front of us, and then back in the doorway and then in front of us, and it'd do that a few times.
Yeah.
And while it was doing that, there was a very loud sound that occurred right in front of us.
Right where
It sounded like it was coming right where the floor was, but there was nothing there. It was, to me, the best way I can describe the sound was like on the 4th of July, if you go to like one of those fireworks stands where you can buy fireworks, and it's the little cheap firework where it spins, like you light it and it goes
Jeez.
It sounded like that.
Yeah.
Like there was literally one of those fireworks going off right in front of us on the floor, but there was nothing there. There was literally nothing there.
Yeah.
And I have the footage of this investigation that I still have to release on an episode. And we actually recorded that sound, and I'm going to put that in the episode. The only problem is that our cameras were not facing in the direction of the sound, so we cannot prove that there was nothing there to make the sound. But you can take my word for it. If you want, I'm telling the truth. There was nothing there.
Definitely.
There was literally nothing there to make that sound. And it was loud. Like, it was, like, really loud. And when that happened, it scared me. Like, I think maybe one of the other investigators was scared too. And because I was like, wow, if it goes any step further than this, there's going to be, like, clear poltergeist activity. Like, stuff getting thrown at us or something.
I feel that.
So, like, that was the only time I truly felt scared on an investigation so far.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
and there was other interesting, I think the other interesting thing that happened in this cookhouse. So I have a device called an EM pump, and it's the purpose of that device is you turn it on, and it generates electromagnetic energy. And the theory is that spirits feed off of electromagnetic energy. So if you were to turn on the EM pump, it would theoretically increase spirit activity because the spirits would come and feed off of that energy. So we investigated here, I think, like 2 or 3 nights. And on the second night, I had to put the EM pumps in the most haunted locations in the building by myself in the dark. I was the only I think I was the only person in the building, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And the other investigators haven't arrived yet. So, and the lights, I don't even think you can turn the lights off or on the top floor that I know of. Maybe you can, but I think there is no electricity up there. But so I had to like walk with my flashlight in the dark by myself with an EM pump into what we thought was the most haunted location. And I was walking down the halls. And as I was walking down the halls, I can hear like knocks. I can hear like fidgeting in the rooms, sounds coming from the rooms that didn't seem like they were just common like squeaks of the floor or anything like that. It just felt like there were like people that were like rustling or something as I was like walking past the rooms. And I put down the EM pump and turned it on. And then as I was walking back, I very distinctly heard a voice come right up on my ear. I couldn't make out any words, but the best way I can describe the sound was like
just heavy breath.
Yeah, like a breath. It was like a hissing breath, kind of like a or something. But it was like clear and distinctive, and it was right up on my ear. It was loud. It felt like there was a person there. It sounded just like there was a person there.
Do you know any history of the Samoa Cookhouse and why it might be haunted?
Let's see. So it used to be. So the Samoa used to be a lumber town. It was a town run by Hammond Lumber Company that was designed specifically to mill lumber, and basically the whole town was run like a military base. We actually also did an investigation at the Samoa Mansion. That was our first investigation. We actually have that episode up and released. Lumber industry that happened up here. Andrew Hammond was a major timber baron, probably one of the major forces for the reason of the deforestation of Northern California, or just Northern California in general.
Definitely.
Um, and let's see, with this particular building, the women. So from my understanding, the women had very strict rules. They had a strict curfew. They couldn't be. They had to be back here by about 10 p.m. or something, or I can't remember what the time was exactly for the curfew, but
Hmm.
they had a curfew. They had to be single. Um, Waitresses were required to be single, which was odd.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Um, there were let's see, stories of, let's see, I think some of the waitresses would actually sneak out of the top floor
Hmm.
late at night for whatever reason
Yeah.
if they wanted to get out, through like I
So they
can't
didn't
remember,
know
like
that they were dating someone.
yeah, maybe they're dating someone, like through a shoot maybe or
Yeah.
something, and then they like somehow were able to sneak back in without being caught. um, uh, I don't know. Let's see. Like when we did our investigation, we seemed I had a spirit medium with me,
Mhm.
and she seemed to think that there was a fire that used to occur in this building. Um, she also thinks maybe there was, because there was a shower room up on the second floor. She seemed to think that there was like kind of like a creepy male overseer
Hmm.
of the women who would take showers up there. So, I
That
mean, I don't know if I don't know some of the detailed history of things that happened, like if there was like traumatic things that happened in this building.
definitely sounds really fishy overall. Like just they cannot date and yeah, sounds like something was definitely happening there.
Possibly. Like I don't know anything overtly in the history books that say this and this happened. Maybe I haven't delved deep enough.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some viewers that know more than I do about the history of this location.
Definitely.
Um, but we were told that other people have had paranormal experiences in this building. So people sometimes that want me to do an investigation, but I'm still trying to finish
Yeah,
5 episodes that I'm backed up on right now.
definitely.
So yeah, it's like I'm actually not in a hurry to take on more investigations until
Yeah.
I finish those episodes, because I don't like to keep people waiting
Yeah,
for
makes
the
sense.
episodes. But unfortunately, um, yeah, I'm a little behind. Just I should have had a third episode released by now, but the person that I did that investigation with failed to sign a video waiver. So after telling me she would, so unfortunately,
Yeah.
I wasted a whole year of work on that episode that never actually happened. So I only have 2 episodes on my YouTube channel right now, and I'm still trying to release my third episode, which deals with uh, paranormal tales out of Disneyland, where cast members talk about their paranormal experiences working at Disneyland. They're not people that I'm interviewing. It's from somebody else's YouTube channel, but he actually gave me permission to talk about his stories, and I'm just kind of giving my 2 cents along the way as I talk about his stories.
Yeah, and from a paranormal investigator standpoint, yeah,
Right.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Let's see, Bigfoot. Um, yeah, I mean, I've heard stories from people, well, at least one person anyway, who told me he had some experiences in like the Happy Camp area, which I thought were interesting. Um, so yeah, that's some. I've been wanting to go to Bluff Creek actually to camp
Yeah.
out there where the supposed Bigfoot sighting, the
Patterson Gimlin.
Gimlin video occurred.
Yeah.
So that's been one of my goals. Maybe someday I'll accomplish that.
Definitely. I was thinking about going up there for this, or at least to that area. Still debating on taking that hike because it's like super long and with that big camera.
Wow.
But
Well,
I might, just because I haven't seen anyone take a big camera to the same spot since.
uh-huh.
So it's like, could be good.
well, if you ever want someone to join you, let me know.
Definitely. I could definitely use the help on that.
Nice.
I'll be going up there for the Bigfoot parade on July, I think it's 13th or 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that'll be one part of my filming, and then I'll be making trips up there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got permission from the Bigfoot Museum.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
but
Yeah.
they have like a filming charge. It sucks.
Right.
It was $200.
Is it for event insurance?
I have no idea. They were just like, we've always had like a charge for filming in it or
Oh,
whatever.
okay. Just
So I was
their
like,
personal charge. Yeah.
yeah. And it's like, I've already spent the most I have on any video ever just trying to make this.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing it all like, I'm obviously not funded by anyone else, just you're doing it on your own. So it's like, I get that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Luckily, I think, everyone that allowed me to investigate the location, I've always been able to do it for free. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But yeah, I know how expensive film can get. I'm actually filming a full-length feature film loosely based on Dungeons and Dragons, and sometimes I have to pay like event insurance or rental fees too.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap.
I feel that, definitely.
Not cheap at all. Yeah.
What's the name, or do you have a name for it yet?
Of the film?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Understandable. Yeah, totally.
Until it's done, yeah. Then I was gonna think of a name, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I hear
it's
you.
a weird way of making a film. But yeah, see, I'm still have to finish the one in Zeno's Curious Goods, which took place in downtown Eureka. And then I have another video where where I did a ghost box session in a paranormal open mic night that occurred in the Siren Song Tavern in Old Town Eureka.
Nice.
So yeah, I still have to release that one as well.
And I think I've heard a little bit about that ghost talk, or you guys, what was it?
Paranormal open mic night.
Yeah, the paranormal
Yeah.
open mic night. I've heard of that going on a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I used to attend it quite a bit, pretty regularly, for a time.
Awesome. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about like going in just to like check it out and maybe share a story, but
Yeah, I don't know if it's still happening or not. I thought maybe it's not, but maybe it is.
It's hard to be confident in your own stories sometimes, or at least for me, like, because it's like I can't, it's hard to tell like what I feel like was a ghost or what it could have been, because people always debunk, and it's hard to be so sure, and I don't know, it's nice that you are like very open to it could have been this, but it is
right.
I'm definitely leaning towards that,
right.
And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel very, I mean, like I said, I don't know for 100% certainty that I made contact with spirits. I feel maybe up in the 90s range percentile.
Yeah.
Confidence that I did make contact with spirits, especially with the ghost box.
Yeah, with all the evidence, it's kind of hard to deny it at some point.
Yeah, well, I get very clear answers specific to the questions that I ask. I think one of my favorite responses was this was at the Buzzard's Nest Antiques and Uniques. And it's in my episode as well. I ask, "Are you human, spirit?" And a very clear voice of a female comes through that says, "Human spirit."
Jeez.
Like,
yeah, that's like pretty undeniable, right?
Yeah, and
there.
all the pronunciations and everything.
Yeah, like not just a simple yes. Yeah.
It just she just repeated "human spirit," and let's see. I think another one of my favorite EVPs was I asked. Let's see. So the Buzzard's Nest Antiques and Uniques. The building above it was the longest running brothel in Eureka. And so I asked, like, I thought maybe there were spirits of prostitutes in the building. So I asked, is there a spirit of a prostitute in this building or something like that? And this is in the episode as well with a Buzzard's Nest. And a very clear answer comes through that says, the prostitute's dead.
Jeez.
Like in all the pronunciations and everything, like you can clearly make out what it was saying. And another good one was, let's see, we were also in the Buzzard's Nest. The Buzzard's Nest, we got a lot of activity. I think I asked something, or somebody asked, do you want us to leave to another location, or do you want us to continue to talk? And it sounded like a clear voice of a female came through that said, continue to talk, like in all the little pronunciations.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and yeah, there's just so many times, like even in the Samoa Mansion, I had a conversation with what sounded like spirits claiming to be Andrew Hammond himself.
Jeez.
Hard to say if they're telling the truth, but
Yeah.
that's what they claimed. But yeah, they seemed to give very clear responses, whether it was like a yes or repeating the name of a certain person. Like I think on that investigation, we had a medium doing investigating with us. Her name was Cher Kelly, and so I asked the spirit, do you know Cher Kelly or something like that? And it seemed to answer back, Cher Kelly, like kind of like in a whispered sound, but it was like repeating her name. So anyway, yeah, it's like you can't always like make sense of what they're saying or why they're saying it, but you can. Yeah. It seems to me they're definitely referencing the question that's being asked.
Yeah, like they're hearing you at least.
Yeah, like even though you can't really like, you don't know why they answered the way they did, but it seems like they're somehow responding in some way to like the questions you ask, and sometimes they'll answer, and sometimes they'll just kind of seems like they're playing with you or something.
Yeah, I hear you.
But yeah, so like with me, I try not to delve too deeply with the spirits. Like I don't use Ouija boards. I don't use anything like that. I don't try to make them possess me, or I personally don't do the seances. If anyone does them, the mediums do. I leave it to them.
Definitely.
I'm basically just here as a ghost hunter just to gain some sort of evidence of their existence and then leave.
Yeah.
like
no more connection after that. Please do not follow.
Yeah. Like I don't want them to follow me. I don't want them. I mean, and sometimes they might, but anyway, but yeah, my whole goal is just to get some kind of evidence of their existence and display it to the public.
Definitely.
Like that's my only goal with ghost hunting. Like,
makes sense.
Yeah. And and it's really interesting to try to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's pretty awesome, to be honest.
Yeah, like I carry a little pocket Bible in my pocket actually when I investigate, because sometimes I feel like some of these spirits are trying to come home with me or possess me, or I don't know, whatever they're trying to do, and I just
little protector.
Yeah, at least it makes me feel relatively protected.
I hear you. Yeah, at least that.
If nothing else, it's just a symbol in my own mind of my belief in God.
Definitely.
So yeah. There was also some pretty little bit of wild things that seemed to have happened in Gettysburg as well, which I thought was interesting.
Shit.
But even that area has a big history associated. So maybe my theory is that any area that has a history of perhaps like wars and traumas and colonialism, I'm sure wherever there's a lot of negative energy, it could be a place where a murder happened.
Definitely.
Or abuse, where a lot of negative energy occurred. That could be a place where spirits might reside, or I think I heard a theory that said that spirits actually feed off of negative energy and they feed off of nervous energy. So I think, let's see, there was a woman named Mary Ann Winkowski. She was she was the consultant to the TV show The Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt. She was the real person, I think, that the show was based off of.
That's awesome.
But she said that spirits, like contrary to public opinion, she said spirits don't really like hanging out in graveyards, because like there's no activity there, there's no energy there to feed off of. Like, except for the occasional graveyard caretaker or person visiting their loved one.
Exactly.
She said spirits mostly like to hang out in places where there's a lot of people. It might be in a theater, because you'll have the performers that are nervous about their performances on stage, so they basically feed off that energy. It might be like at a concert. It might be at a dentist's office. It might be at a police station. It might even be on an airplane flight, because a lot of people are nervous flying.
Definitely.
So she says spirits tend to hang out and congregate in places where there's a lot of nervous energy, and I think negative energy kind of gives them even more of that feeding of somehow, or at least from negative entities.
Yeah.
Like that Hanover house that I walked around supposedly had a lot of negative things happened in that that house, which let's see, I haven't read the full book on it, but definitely abuse has supposedly occurred in that house to a large degree. So yeah, a lot of negative energy. So yeah, anywhere there's like negative energy or trauma or negative history or anything like that, there tends, at least from what I've seen, there tends to be a lot of activity.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's hard to say because I guess there's two different types of hauntings. According to one of the mediums on my team, she says that a haunting can be an intelligent haunting, or it could be kind of like a remnant or haunting. So like an intelligent haunting is where you have like a spirit who actually is there and can see you and can interact with you and knows that you're there, and you can interact with it. And then you have like a remnant or replay haunting, which is basically, it's not really an intelligent haunting. It's just kind of like replaying of something, like an event that occurred, and it just keeps replaying over and over. But somehow the spirits are like trapped in that event.
So I could see that being like the purgatory type of state for the ghost, I guess.
Possibly. Yeah, I don't really know the reasons for a haunting like that. Like Kristen Bradfield, she was the medium on my investigation for this investigation at the Samoa Cookhouse. She was saying that she was seeing in this, I think it was in the the Hammond room, which is like a dining room.
The upstairs, or?
It's downstairs to the lower right, like at the very lower right. Those 1, 2, 3, 4, those 5 windows at the right. Yeah, nice. That's the Hammond room. She was seeing like a remnant haunting where she was seeing like all these men seated at this long table, and it's like they were eating or something, like they would normally do back in the day. And their boss, he was kind of like this tall, lean man, standing at the edge of the table, just over watching everything. And she said all of a sudden, like, everybody like got up and like ran out of the building. And she was trying to figure out like why did they do that? Why did they do that? And it kept repeating over and over, where they would come back to eating at that table at the same moment, and then they'd be running out of the building again. It just like something that just kept replaying. And she said it wasn't intelligent because she said I actually walked through their boss, who was standing there overseeing the meeting. But like I asked, do they know we're here? And she's like, no, they have no idea that we're here. And we happened to have a historian on site at that time. And she asked him if there was a fire that occurred in this building. He said there was. So she seems to think that they were responding to some kind of a fire that was going on in the building, where they ran out of the building. But it was some kind of an event that had so much significance that it kind of like stayed in a loop throughout history.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, it was not an intelligent haunting. It was like a replaying of something significant that happened in history. So yeah, there was another, well, I don't know if it's worth mentioning, but I'm still analyzing the data from this investigation.
Definitely.
But we were passing by a window in the upstairs, and the video footage very, very clearly catches some kind of like an object coming right up to the window and like touching it and then moving back. And as it touched, you could hear like a distinct like tap. And I thought, oh, like, and I didn't notice it while we were there, and I saw it on the video. I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a tarp out there or something.
Yeah.
And I can even show you the actual window if you want, but I actually went to look at it where it was, and there's no tarp out there. And I asked the guy who owns this building, like, is there any tarp? Was there ever any tarp outside that window? And he said, no, there's never been anything. I mean, I can only think maybe it might have been a bat.
Yeah.
Because sometimes maybe it was
I haven't
going
seen
toward
the
the light and it hit the window.
Yeah.
Hard to say, but yeah, it was really odd. As we were passing that window, there was a very distinct like almost looked like a brown mass of an object that just kind of moved in from the side and like tapped the window and then went out of view.
Interesting. Definitely.
Like, and that's clear on the video. Like I even like put it in slow motion and everything.
Yeah. Excited to see that.
But I can't make out any details on the object because I think the window's kind of blurry or something. Like maybe it blurred out what it is. But yeah, I plan on putting that on the episode as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, this was definitely an interesting location. Trying to think if anything else happened in this building worth mentioning. Yeah, I'd say those were the strongest things. Let's see, I think we were in a hallway on the upper floor that led toward the shower rooms. And it seemed like the other investigators had their SLS video cameras with them, and they were picking up it's like a stick figure, like a humanoid stick figure, just kind of hanging, like floating in the air near the certain window. And it was actually in front of the same window where that weird brown object came and tapped the window. And it was like hanging out there for a long time. And let's see, I even tried to like interact with it, and I still have to analyze the footage. I can't remember if they said the stick figure like reached out toward me, but it may have also like disappeared when I went near it because she thought that it was like shy or something.
Yeah.
But they seemed to think there was like a distinct like spirit hanging out like toward the ceiling of a certain near the shower rooms. And they thought that it was like the overseer guy, the creepy overseer guy who liked to oversee the women showering in the shower rooms. And we actually, I think we got some ghost box footage where women's spirits seemed to be referencing a man they didn't like or something that used to.
Yes.
Or they didn't have the best of times taking a shower or something, maybe because. Yeah. And then we thought maybe it was because of that one overseer that could have been overseeing.
Definitely.
Them.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird things were happening back in the 1800s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very, very interesting investigation. The Samoa Mansion was an interesting investigation. That was my first investigation, just with me leading it. The majority of that investigation, we seemed to get nothing. I was using my spirit box, and I put what's called a Faraday bag. I put it inside of a Faraday bag. So the whole idea of a Faraday bag is it blocks out radio signals, where it only generates white noise. So you're not really getting any radio activity. You're just hearing the white noise from the radio. And some people think like if you hear any spirit responses through the white noise without the radio transmission, that makes you even that much more confident that you're getting a spirit speaking. Definitely. As opposed to like a radio channel saying, today the weather is blah, 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
And while I used the Faraday bag, I got like no responses, like pretty much none. And then like when I finally took the Faraday bag off the ghost box and we were communicating with spirits in the kitchen, then we were getting all sorts of responses. And I was like, well, that's odd. And I did a little more research on it, and according to Steve Huff, who runs the Huff Paranormal YouTube channel, he said that he does not recommend using a Faraday bag because he said it's not the white noise that the spirits use to communicate through the ghost box, it's the radio signals themselves. There's something about the radio signals that the spirits need to communicate. So ever since I got no responses with the Faraday bag, and ever since he said that to me on a forum that I asked him on that question and he answered, I've been never using a Faraday bag ever since. So I just try to use the radio waves, and even if it picks up radio signals, because also according to Steve Huff, let's say I do get a radio channel that comes through. So maybe the radio channel said something like, today the weather is sunny. So instead of the radio voice saying that, according to Steve Huff, a spirit can take that voice and change it to make it say what the spirit is trying to say.
Definitely.
So instead of the voice saying, today the weather is sunny, the spirit can change it to say, hello, my name is Bob, or whatever. You know?
I hear you.
So there's something about the radio signals themselves that seem to be needed in order to make contact with spirits. And I don't know the science behind it. I'm thinking in the same way that radio transmissions pick up what's going on in the airwaves, maybe the radio transmissions are also picking up what happens in other dimensions, maybe, or hard to say.
Definitely.
But I believe it works. I don't know the science behind it.
Yeah, I mean, with having responses, clear responses, yeah, I believe it too, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I had something.
And
describe.
maybe it also comes from the fact that even like growing up in my life, I've had strange, what seemed like paranormal experiences as I grew up. So that as well kind of like feeds my hunger and like trying to find out more about the truth of the paranormal. So yeah, like lots of weird little things happen. I think I even mentioned one of my experiences in the Disneyland episode that
Nice.
I'm hoping to release soon.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a ghost of someone in a certain place in Disneyland, supposedly the most haunted location in Disneyland, and the way that spirit was described was pretty much the exact description of a ghost that I thought I encountered when I was a young child at about 8 years old.
Jeez.
And so I was wondering, like, is this the same spirit, or maybe it's the same type of spirit?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
what is the location, the most haunted location
in Disneyland?
Yeah.
So supposedly it's the Golden Horseshoe. Yeah, it's like it was one of the original buildings that was built when Disneyland was first constructed. It actually opened like a week or so before Disneyland actually officially opened. Yeah, there was some sort of like a wedding anniversary between Walt Disney and his wife Lillian, and they had like a big called the Golden Horseshoe Review in there. And so yeah, there's like a lot of history in that building. It actually, that building actually had the longest running stage show in history. Like it was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Wow.
I think it went from like, I want to say like the 50s all the way through like the 80s or something. Like it was like the longest running stage show where they like perform on stage.
Yeah.
And it lasted for like decades.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's some really spooky stories associated with that building too. And I actually went to Disneyland last year in August. I actually went to that same location. I went in the Golden Horseshoe, and there was definitely a vibe.
Yeah.
I felt.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you were talking about the cookhouse, I was getting a little, on the back, just like.
Yeah.
Feeling,
Yeah, there's definitely something about this building. There's something about it.
Yeah.
And if you're interested, I like maybe even Kristen Bradfield could do an interview for you as well. She was one of the mediums on that
that would
on
be
that
awesome.
investigation, and I think she definitely felt some things in here. She has the ability to actually see spirits, according to her, and which I don't have that ability. So she can. So yeah, she claimed that she saw some spirits in here. Yeah, like when I started ghost hunting, I thought like I'd be scared. Once you kind of dive into it, it becomes, at least for me anyway, I'm not as scared about it anymore.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's just kind of like doing that first jump into the water.
Yeah, I feel that.
But
I'm going here to do this, and I'm expecting it. Having that probably.
But at the same time, like what happened in here was the strongest thing that happened paranormal-wise to me, as far as hearing that sound that coming from nothing, loud sound too.
Yeah.
Loud, like, if I could describe like how loud it was like,
Yeah.
like that, but there was nothing there.
Straight up.
And probably louder than that even. But if like, let's say I was doing a ghost hunt and things started flying in the air on their own, like poltergeist activity, I've never really experienced that. So if that did happen, maybe the first time it happened, I'd be pretty freaked out.
Yeah.
And maybe if it happened again after that, I wouldn't be as freaked out.
Definitely.
But that's one thing I haven't experienced yet, and whether I want that to experience that or not is a different question.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you, until you experience it, I guess, you're kind of afraid of it, and then, but once you kind of jump in and get into it, then it's not as scary, not so scary anymore.
Yeah. And the thing that people fear the most is ambiguity, the unknown.
Right.
So definitely makes a lot of sense that the more you start to be exposed to it, the less fearful you are of anything serious happening from it, at least.
Right. Yeah. And so yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sorry for taking up so much of your time.
No, that's why I'm here for.
Yeah.
I feel honored that you invited me to be in this interview. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Like, people were telling me, you need to get him and talk to him, and I was like, we'll do it if I can at least.
People are telling you to interview.
Yeah.
Oh, good, good.
Definitely. They were like, he'll be a good one to.
Yeah. I feel glad and honored that they thought that.
Definitely. Awesome.
But yeah, I still have to go through 5 other episodes to finish those. So yeah, I may have plenty more stories to talk about what we found in those investigations based on the data and video and audio that I have to go over.
Definitely. And I'm sure some of my viewers will be happy to go check that out.
Yep.
And give you a subscribe.
Yep. And I'll definitely keep people updated, and I'll definitely post them as soon as they get posted or finished.
Definitely. Yeah. So. A lot of editing, I bet.
A lot. Yeah. And it's a part-time thing. It's not like it's my career where I can just make videos all day long.
Definitely.
And ghost hunt, like I have a full-time job somewhere else, and I have other projects that I do. So I try to work on it at least a little every day, as far as editing the video. And like even with the Disneyland episode, I have like over 300 audio snippets that I have to optimize.
Yeah.
And so I have to go through each individual one, make sure like you can hear them well enough at say 50% audio volume level on your TV. Yeah, so that's very painstaking. A lot of times it feels like knitting a garment.
Yeah.
Editing a video. Yeah. And I just do it part-time, so.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, but maybe someday if I get enough subscribers and enough views on my videos, then I can possibly make it a career and do it full time. But that time hasn't come yet.
Definitely.
And maybe it never will. But I still enjoy doing it.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get monetized on YouTube, and I actually surprisingly am, but it took very, very long. It was like 12 years.
Really? So you actually are monetized on YouTube? Wow.
Thankfully.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've only made like $400 altogether ever on YouTube, which that's like a over 3 years of being monetized. But yeah, hopefully further on I'll be able to do that as a career.
Nice.
That is definitely the goal.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working at like right now. Yeah.
Nice.
And then doing what I can when I have the time. Yeah, I'm very happy with the interview, and thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh yeah, live VR mic. I almost forgot.
Oh, you want my mic?
Yeah, if that's all good.
I didn't turn it off. So.
Oh, no worries. I got you. Thanks for sticking around to the end. There's still a whole lot to this interview if you're interested, and it will be in the documentary. Make sure to go check out his channel. Like I said before, link in the description. He really tries to leave his audience the ability to interpret what he has discovered. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you when the doc gets released.